Hey, Danny, how did Shadya come about? How did the film come about?
First of all, I have to say, this is the first time I finished the film 20 years ago. Shadya now is 37, not 70. So you have to understand her daughter is here as well.
First time in the United States.
First time in the US, that's right. So, and it's the first time I've seen the film with Shadya after we finished it. So it's 20 years. It's wonderful. And every time I see it, it's really it's very meaningful for me. And especially now, after 20 years, we're still in contact. She's still training. But to your question, so the idea of a film, first I wanted to make a completely different film. I wanted to make a film about Israeli kids and Palestinian kids and how they could become friends through the values of karate, the martial arts, respect, self-control, harmony within yourself, harmony with others. And I'm from Australia, if you don't know, and I was the Australian coach, and then I made Aliyah, and I became the Israeli coach. But to be a coach or a teacher in Israel, I had to do a certification at the Wingate College of Sport. And that's where I met Shadya. And it was very unusual. I'd never heard of Israeli Arabs. I thought they were Palestinians and they were Israeli Jews. And in my class, half of the students were Arabs and half of the Arabs were Arab women. So I was really shocked. And I didn't speak much Hebrew. So Shadya helped me with my Hebrew, and I helped her become a world champion. And that was the deal. So the original film was about how, to make Jewish and Arab, Israeli and Palestinian kids. And I knew the Palestinian coach. And then I said to him, let's do something together, your kids and our kids, and you see in the film. And he said, fine, but not in Israel, because people will think that there's peace in Israel. He said, let's do it somewhere else. So I said, okay, the World Championships in South Africa, and we'll go to South Africa. He said, fine. So I found a Palestinian producer that went with them via Amman, and I had an Israeli director and a cinematographer. And we all arrived in South Africa, and the Palestinian coach said, we can be friends, our kids can be friends, but we don't want people to know that. So we don't want to be on TV. So there I was with a film crew. As a coach, I even competed, and I didn't have a film. And the film crew said, okay, that's it, no film, we're going back. And I said, wait, I've got a feeling maybe in a day, we'll wait one day. So we waited, and the next day, Shadya wins. She wins a gold medal for Israel. And, the Israeli team was ecstatic, and the Palestinian team was so happy because she's Palestinian. And here I'm thinking, I don't believe it. Here is something much more interesting than trying to concoct a story of Israeli and Palestinian kids.
You found a star.
I found a star. No, I found something that I didn't know. And I know a lot of you people don't know that there are 21% of Israelis are Arab citizens of Israel. And then I decided, this is a story and I'm going to follow her. And I followed her for 3 years until she got married. And then it was, costing a lot of money. I said, okay, finish the film. She was pregnant. And then I sent it off to the Amsterdam Film Festival, and it won. And what's interesting, not only was it bought by many TV stations, PBS in the US liked it so much that a few years later, they re-edited it and created an educational program for high schools and colleges.
Which is available, by the way, if you just Google.
Just Google Shadya/PBS.
It's a great educational guide. Actually, we refer to it for research and for questions. So.
Yeah, and it's really, when you use a film for education, it's really amazing, and that's what they do.
And that's what this evening is about. So right. Thank you. So we're so thrilled to have you here, Shadya, and I'm going to translate. So I'm going to speak a little Hebrew, we'll do it. I'm not a professional translator, so bear with me, but I want you to hear Shadya's words. אז שדיה, אנחנו מאוד שמחים שאת פה, ואנחנו יודעים שציוו את הסרט שהיית, בת 17. ועכשיו, אז מה את יכולה להגיד לך על החיים שלך היום, וגם אם את עדיין עושה קראי? So the question for Shadya is, we're thrilled to have you here, and we know that the film was shot when you were a teenager, but what can you tell us about your life now, including the role of martial arts or karate?
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry about my English is not perfect.
Don't be sorry. My Arabic is not either.
אני היום בת 37,
Today I'm 37.
בעלת סטודיו ספורט.
She's still doing sports, and she owns a studio, right?
מאמנת ספורט.
And she's a coach.
אני מאמנת סטודיו רק לנשים.
And it's only for women, this studio.
אני עצמאית היום, יש לי את המכון שלי, מכון הכושר שלי.
She is an independent business owner, and it's her own studio.
התגרשתי.
I got divorced.
והתחתנתי שוב מבן אדם. יודע איך לתת אהבה ולחבר ולתמוך ולעזור.
I got married again to a man who knows how to support me and take care of me and love me. טוב, את רוצה להגיד עוד משהו? ואני גם אשאל אותך עוד שאלות.
היום אני עובדת עם נשים בתחום הספורט. אני פתחתי קריירה חדשה חוץ מהקראטה.
I have a business that I work with women, and I opened a new business apart from karate.
אני התחלתי הראשונה כמעט באזור שלנו לאמן ספורט כנשים.
I am the first woman and the only, right, יחידה?
לא בבית ספר, יש מורות בבית ספר, אבל מאמנת בתוך קבוצות, מתנ"ס.
She's the first. Now there are other teachers that are female, but she is the first one to have really started teaching and coaching karate.
אני מדברת לפני 15 שנה. היום יש הרבה.
And this was 15 years ago. She was the first one, and now there are many.
היום יש לי את הסטודיו שלי, יש לי כמעט מעל 200 לקוחה, ואנשים מתאמנות. מגיעות להתאמן בגלל האנרגיה שנמצאת בסטודיו. הן מאמנות את השכל, את הלב, את השרירים.
And today I have a studio where I have about 200 participants that come, and they love to work out in the studio, and it's a gym. I keep calling it a studio, but it's actually a gym for women only, and they really enjoy coming and working out and getting strong.
ואני מאוד שמחה שהגעתי לכאן. יכלתי לאהוב את עצמי, הייתי מרגישה בסרט, ולא הייתי מאהבת את עצמי מספיק.
I'm really glad that I got to this place in my life where I love myself, because now looking at the film, at that time, I don't think I did love myself.
ביום שידעתי איך לאהוב את עצמי ולתת לעצמי את הנכון, אז קיבלתי החלטות קשים, להתגרש ולהתרחק, לקחת ילדים, ולעמוד שוב על הרגליים שלי, את האישיות שלי, עצמאית יותר.
And now I am independent, and I was able, because I learned to love myself, to make these difficult decisions, to get divorced, and to make these changes and in my life. That's great. Shadya, I would like to ask Nour and Shadya also a question. Having you both here is also very valuable for the audience, because you're both Israeli Arab, but Shadya is a Muslim Arab and Nour is a Bedouin Arab. So
Bedouin is also Muslim.
yeah. So as a Bedouin Muslim Arab. Thank you for the distinction. So it would be very, great for the audience to hear about your life and what, your different cultural traditions and what it is like to be an Israeli Arab woman from these different communities, both Bedouin and non-Bedouin, but Bedouin Arab. Good evening, everyone. A little bit nervous. I'm so happy that we're doing this here together, and so happy to see you all. I'm Nour, and I'm from a little village in North Israel, a Bedouin village. We also have Nour. Oh, the name of the village? It's Zarzir, called Zarzir. We also have a Bedouin in North Israel. To be honest, a little bit
not a little bit, but they are different. I'll explain that. I grew up in an environment that we belong to Israel and celebrate the Independence Day of Israel. My two brothers went to Army Israel, and I had no idea that there's such a thing called Palestine till I was 16 years old, when I was in Budo for Peace. And the first time I met Jewish kids and got into a Jewish community to get to know them was in Budo for Peace when I met Danny there. And I was 16 years old. And honestly, I was curious because you always hear about them, but you never actually meet them. And as a teenager, you think like they're different. And when I saw them first time playing, I was like looking at them, what they're doing, how they're wearing, how they talk. And I didn't know a word in Hebrew before Joey. But I figured out there's no different actually. And then we started talking English. I was speaking English since I was a kid. And Jewish parents since I was 16, one and Arabs. So, and how is your life as a woman in the 21, in your 21%? Like how is your life as a Bedouin woman? What is it like in getting, working and friends, if you feel comfortable sharing a little bit? Of course. When I was in high school till 18, I didn't work, so I was only in my village, going high school and go back home. But when I graduated high school, I had to go and work. So I went to work with the village next to us, which was for Jewish, and I didn't know Hebrew, and I learned there. Then I opened up to the world. I figured out that I need to study and discover the world and travel. Honestly, I had very difficult times through that in my community because my family at the beginning didn't expect that and didn't accept that as well.
They didn't expect that you were gonna get a job and leave travel.
I came to the United States and I was 18 years old because I wanted to see the world, the other side of the world. It was a difficult time. I don't want to get into details, but I did it.
And they accepted it.
And they missed me a lot. I think they did.
That's really helpful. Thank you for sharing that more personal aspect. Shadya, אם את יכולה להסביר מה זה החיים שלך להיות ישראלית, ולביאה קצת על החיים שלך, אחד עם התרבות, ואם את רוצה קצת יותר אישי, אבל איך שאת מרגישה בנוח. So I'm asking Shadya the same question, of course, about her life being a Muslim Arab woman in Israel.
אני מדברת על, קודם כל, for myself, על החיים שלי אישיים. זה היה מאוד קשה, לא היה כאן להיות ערבייה ישראלית במדינה.
For me personally, in my personal life, it wasn't so easy being an Israeli Arab woman. למה? Why?
כי המגזר הערבי, אני מדברת לפני 20 שנה,
This is 20 years ago.
היה קצת קשה, ואני יכולה להגיד, כאילו, לא כולם, אבל אני הייתי במקום שהרבה אסור לאישה.
This is not everyone, but there was a lot of things that weren't allowed for a woman.
אבל היום השתנה.
But today things are different.
יש הרבה נשים עובדות.
There are a lot of women that work, that are independent.
והן עומדות
learn.
זה לאט לאט השתנה. ואני מאוד שמחה שיש נשים חזקות היום במגזר הערבי. ומדברת בכללי כמו ערבייה ישראלית, אני עדיין מרגישה בפחד.
So she's very glad things have changed, and there are now a lot of strong women in the Israeli Arab community that are doing well and that things have really changed. But she does still feel a sense of fear.
אני מדברת בכללי על החיים של ערבים בישראל.
And she's speaking generally about life being Israeli Arab in Israel. Okay. אני רוצה... כן,
תודה.
בטח.
אני מרגישה ואני רואה את זה שהרבה ערבים ישראלים אין שיווי בין שני העמים.
She doesn't feel there's equality between...
ויש הרבה דברים חסרה במגזר הערבי.
There are a lot of things that are lacking in the Israeli Arab like section of Israel, because Israel has sections that are heavily populated with Israeli Arabs.
הדברים הכי פשוטים כמעט לא מקבלים אותה, כמו הליכה בכביש, הליכת רגליים, אין בכפרים, דברים כאלה, אין משחקיות, אין פארק. כאילו לא מקבלים הדברים כמו הצד השני מקבל, למרות שאנחנו שנינו חיים לאזרחים באותו מדינה.
Even though we're citizens and we live in the same country, some of these areas that I mentioned don't have the same facilities. They don't have sidewalks, and they don't get the parks, and they don't have the same facilities.
וזה מאוד מפחיד אותי שאנחנו לא מקבלים כל הזכויות שלנו, כמו כל בן אדם רוצה במדינה הזאת.
And that worries me that we don't get the same rights as everyone else living in the country.
פשוט רוצים ביטחון, כבוד וזכויות של אזרחי חי במדינה.
We want the same things. We want rights and security and safety. And
אני רוצה את זה בשבילי ובשביל הילדים שלי.
I want it for myself and my kids. Okay. תודה. Danny, Nour, I want to go back to how you all met. And Danny, if you can share, and Nour already mentioned Budo for Peace, and of course, Shadya. So could you explain to the audience what is Budo for Peace?
Okay, well, Budo is Japanese. It means martial arts. And the idea of creating a non-profit organization using martial arts as a platform of bringing Jewish and Arab and even ultra-Orthodox kids together. That's what Budo for Peace is. It started because I was on the Australian team. The idea that there were, Lebanese Australians, Iranian Australians. I was the token Jewish Australian, which it's like in America. You are proud to represent your country and proud to represent your community. And together we became very strong. And through those values of respect, self-control, harmony, that I thought maybe this can be used as educational, informal, getting kids together. And that's what Budo for Peace is. And
there are clubs all over Israel
yes.
that are Jews and Arabs that are doing martial arts together. I'd love, and anybody can also learn more about Budo for Peace as well. It's very easy.
I do want to say that 5 years ago, when this has been going like 20 years, I decided to, I met many other organizations doing sports for social change, basketball, surfing, soccer, and I thought, wouldn't it be good if we collaborate? So I transformed the idea of just Budo for Peace to sports for social change. And that includes sports for women empowerment, sports for disabilities, sports for shared society. And that's what it is now. And we have our family foundation supporting these programs. So it's not just Budo for Peace.
No, it's definitely not just. So I'd love to take some questions from the audience. So it's not just me. Thank you, Allison. So question from the audience. I'd like to know about Shadya's dad and her sister, Wa'id. What happened to them in the past 20 years? אז שאלה בשבילך, שאלתי, אני רוצים לדעת על אבא שלך ועל אחותך, ומה קרה להם ב-20 שנים האחרונות?
אולי בקצני. אבא שלו עדיין חי, שיהיה בריא.
השני, מה?
עדיין חי.
My dad is doing well and
יהיה בריא.
that may he continue to be healthy.
אני איבדתי את אמא שלי.
I lost my mother.
And my brother.
And my brother.
ווואיד התחתנה, ויש לה 3 ילדים.
My sister got married, Wa'id, and she has 3 kids.
אני הפסיקה להתאמן קראטה.
But she has stopped doing karate. Okay, thank you. Another question from the audience. Most of the questions are about Shadya's brothers. Okay, that was more of a comment, but that's fine. That's fine. So what do you want American Jews to know? I think you've actually answered this one. Thank you. What conversations, we talked about this question actually ahead of time, and I have the same exact, but so this is a general question, and please, feel comfortable answering it as what. What conversations do you think that we should be having about Israel and about shared society in the future? What kinds of things do you think that we should be talking about to improve? And the implication.
If I can answer that.
Please.
First of all, to know more that there is Arab-Israeli, because the first time I came to the United States, people were telling me, where are you from? I said, Israel. Oh, Shalom. I'm from originally from Tel Aviv. I'm Jewish. No, I'm not Jewish. I'm Arab. I'm Muslim. What? We didn't get it. And I had to say it over and over again. So, yeah, I think we should know more about Israel, and you should come to visit first of all.
And Thomas isn't. That's a good start. And of course, going to visit 9 villages. They're beautiful. The small villages are gorgeous. They really are. They're amazing. I've been very lucky to go. And how can American Jews help promote shared society and continuing to educate ourselves? I mean, I think you even said just a basic thing like learning that they're Israeli Arabs.
אני חושבת גם אולי צריכים ללמד את גילאים הדברים אחרים במדינות אחרות. כביכול יש ערבים, יש יהודים, יש אמריקאים, ודברו הבת שלי, ולא ידעתי כלום על אנשים אחרים ממקום אחר.
I think we should educate ourselves and our kids also about people in other countries, and there are Arabs in other countries and people there. So educating the
אני חושבת שזה חשוב. כי גם אני שעליתי על העולם, לא הייתי יודעת הרבה היסטוריה על מדינות בעולם, על אנשים אחרים.
I didn't know about the history. I didn't know about other people's either. So educating even about each other.
If I could just say something. Sure. We were together a couple of days ago in New York with Shadya's daughter, and we went to Ground Zero. She'd never heard of what happened September 11th. And I was looking for Arabic translation, and there was no Arabic translation. So it's remarkable. It goes both ways.
It goes both ways. Yeah. I love this because we're saying something also so basic.
Was there equal translation?
Sorry?
No, there was. I checked because she understands it. Not in a way.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. There was German, French.
Yeah. And this is a lovely question too for Shadya. What inspired you to get back into karate? To do what? Maya, הסיבה שהתחלת לעשות קראטה, איפה זה שאת רצית לעשות קראטה? אני הייתי ילדה כל כך קופצת כל הזמן, והייתי עד אז בובה. I was a girl that was always jumping around.
סבא, סבא, את יכולה להיכנס לזירה ולהרביץ חוקי.
Oh, and so my dad said that you can go and you can hit people legally.
תעשי את זה בחוץ, תעשי את זה בקראטה.
Don't do it in the out, don't do it in public, you can do it at work.
סתם. אני רוצה להגיד מילה, כי הקראטה לימד אותי, השיטת של אימון היא שיטת חיים, שיטת חיים.
It's a way of life. It really taught me is karate is a way of life and belief. I noticed from Danny.
Yeah. גם אני למדתי, כמו התחרות, יש לנו זמן, יש טיימינג, יש חוקים, יש קהל, יש הכל, אותו דבר בחיים. אם אנחנו הולכים עיניי, רואים החוקים הקראטה התרגילים, וקצת בתוך החיים.
I learned that I compare it to life, learning how to do karate. There's timing when you're doing a tournament. There's timing, focus, rules, and this applies to life as well.
וזה מאוד עזר לי בחיים.
And this really helped me in my life. Couple more questions. Nour, you said it already, but you did learn Hebrew in school. Do you identify as an Arab Israeli or Palestinian citizen of Israel or some other way? How do you identify yourself? Israeli or Israeli Arab? Okay. I know that, this is another question for Danny and Nour, and we know that these are particularly trying times in Israel. How does the current situation affect your life in Israel? What is Israel life like at this moment for you personally? Because I think the personal is really, we can all look at the news, but that's not why we're here.
Yeah, before I answer that, I wanted the chance to answer the question of what the American people be thinking and doing. And I think if you do come and visit Israel, and even if you don't, that there are so many organizations that are around that support people-to-people interaction. And I think that's what's very important, because in Israel, the Arabs have a different education system. They never get a chance to meet. And it's just, they're all segregated. And same with the ultra-Orthodox, different education system. So one, they're taught different things. Two, they live in different locations and they never get the opportunity to meet. So if you do know, there are many organizations that are bringing these kids together. And I mean, kids is important. And the more times that they interact and communicate, then the biggest problem is ignorance and fear. And that's what happens. You start to hate if you don't know about the other person and you fear them. And each time that there is a connection, then that dissipates. And we have here in the audience Abi from the Alliance of Middle East Peace, who has 150 different organizations that's being supported, all people-to-people organizations, grassroots. So I think if you want to know and do something, it's important to understand and support these organizations that are like Budo and Peace, that are getting kids to meet. And the more times they meet, the more trust and the better society will have.
I'm thinking learning like us. And so if you could also just answer what is life like for you now in Israel, I think that would be really valuable for people.
Right. Well, it's really quite difficult. With all these obstacles, there's also opportunities. And I know, when COVID started, all these organizations stopped because it's contact sports, right? And then after we had these May riots, everybody was afraid, and now even more afraid. But in a way, because of these obstacles, a lot of these organizations got together and said, let's work together. Let's see how we can have collective impact. And now we have a coalition of sports for social change, 20 organizations, 47,000 kids, 380 locations. So in difficult times, you can also create opportunities. And I think this is what we should be doing more, not just giving up. Okay, it's difficult with the government, but it's also bringing like-minded people together. So hard, but opportunities.
Danny is one of the most optimistic people I know, but I agree. Ken, Shadya would like to say one more thing about Budo for Peace, and then I would think we should also continue the conversation, and we have a reception, and we can continue asking, and I want to give people a chance to meet you, and talk to you. So yes, please.
אני עבדתי כמאמנת בבודו פליז.
I worked in Budo for Peace as a trainer.
ושם אני לימדתי הרבה ערכים,
and there
מאוד חשובים לחיים.
There I learned a lot of very important values for life.
ראיתי ילדים ערבים ויהודים ביחד, הם מנסים לדבר, מנסים להתחבר אחד לשני, ומחפשים תקשורת בין שניהם.
I saw a lot of kids, Jewish kids and Arab kids, meeting and trying to communicate with each other and to get to know each other.
בתוך הקראטה לקחנו את הבודו פור פיס מאימון של קראטה לחברים, לתקשורת אחרת ביניהם, לבניית ערכים חדשה בין שני הילדים האלה, ונראה לי יש ילדים עד היום חברים כאילו התחילו ביחד וגדלו ביחד.
And through karate, through the training of karate and the belief in karate, these kids that she observed, that Shadya observed, were able to really become friends. And some of them are friends till this day.
לפני כמה חודשים עשיתי גיבוש בין בנות ערביות וישראליות ויהודיות, בלי טלפונים, בלי כלום, בלי כלום. את לא מאמינה איך הקשר ביניהם, כל אחד שואלת על השנייה, מנסה לדבר עם שנייה, והם בקיבוץ ביחד במשך 10 ימים, איזה חיבור היה ביניהם.
I think this is a wonderful note to end on, that she just was working with a group of Israeli Arab teenage girls and Jewish Israeli teenage girls for 10 days, and she saw there were no phones, no cell phones, and how much they connected. And
כל הזמן ביחד עושות הרבה פעילות, לא רק בספורט, הרבה פעילות ביחד.
they were doing so many activities together, not just sport, and really so curious about each other.
היא מרגישה ורואה, אנחנו עושים הרבה דברים כאלה במדינה.
This is what I saw, and this is what I want to have a lot of things like that in Israel. Thank you so much.
Nour wanted to start talking about.
Nour, did you want to ask me a question, but I didn't have the chance. Oh yes, it's very important. It is very important. Thank you for bringing.
Now, I'm gonna make it short, but it's very important to me. As an Israeli Arab, I always felt that I was in the middle because I do connect to Israel. I do belong to Israel, but Israel doesn't belong to me. Because I always feel you're still Arab, no matter where you grow up or the environment you came from, but you're still Arab, and that was really difficult for me. But at the same time, the Arab Palestinians didn't accept me because I didn't know them. I didn't know their traditions. I didn't speak their accent. So I was always like on my way by myself, but I figured it out that I'll continue like this. You don't have to choose this side or this side. You can choose a different one, which is you can choose peace. You can choose to accept the other person, not by his religion, not by worldly titles, but only how does he respect you. You can respect him back or love him back and just accept the fact that he's different, and it's okay, you know? Like, the kids will be different. And that's it. Amen.
Thank you all so much. I just want to thank you again for coming, and also note that we have photographs all over the building, Humans of Tel Aviv exhibit, which, like this film, aims and succeeds to put a human face on the country. Thank you so much.